I like Chris Paul to San Antonio.
Yeah.
That was a sneaky.
I
like,
really
decent.
enjoyed that. At
Yeah.
this point, I
Yeah.
regard Chris Paul as like a player coach.
Yeah.
And I think having him there with Wemby is going to pay huge dividends. to
Not
that
only
organization.
not only with Wemby, of course, because Wemby is there, but they drafted that young guard.
From UConn,
Yeah,
Stephon
like,
Castle,
you can mentor him, do whatever you want.
They got
And,
you know what I
Johnson too. Keldon Johnson.
and Kel
Keldon,
Johnson,
so
and,
Keldon, I guess, maybe.
Darius Vassell is also
Yeah.
another
Yeah,
guy. that
Vassal's like
has
a scoring
little
guard.
bit
I
of
like
promise.
Vassal. He's a scoring guard.
What's the other guy who kind of had a little bit of the rock? Soshan?
Yeah.
Oh,
the
that's
French
what
guy,
he said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
oh,
yeah.
I thought-
They had
I'm
him
sorry, I
running
thought you said-
point guard a little bit.
Yeah,
Because Vassal is a scorer. Yeah. Now I wonder will Chris start or will they do the youth movement and have him? That's going to be very interesting.
I mean, like when they won the title
He
last,
just lost
they
everything.
had like a late prime crew of guys,
Yeah.
and they had these young guys that you could kind of
It was
transition
the perfect
to,
setup.
and it just all went to hell.
All went to shit.
You
All
know,
went
and
to-
I mean, but Wiseman's probably again because if you look at it, so few times does a team with all the Warriors had have an opportunity to draft second.
yeah.
You know, it's kind of like when you had
Send him to
like
the Spurs.
David Robinson.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they got to draft, Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
It's crazy.
And that obviously worked real good.
yeah.
Yeah, but the other one that worked real bad, as you can go back to, is the Celtics with Len Bias.
Yeah.
Like the Celtics were still good, but they were aging. They have a chance to draft at the top of the draft, and they'd kick Len Bias, and he dies.
I was about to say, at least that's bad luck. versus-
Arguably, he might have done more than Wiseman
You're wrong for that.
Yikes.
as a dead guy.
Yikes.
Because at least once he was dead in the funeral, you didn't have any more false hope. So you were unburdened by that.
But when Poole started balling, that's when they should have traded Clay. Even if you could have got 2 firsts for that, even when it's coming off the injury, they should have traded him last year when he was still kind of coming back, and people were like, "Oh, well, maybe Clay will come back this year."
Yeah, I mean, just sometimes you just ride it out and let it be what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think
It's like I said, it's an impossible decision. To
I
make.
don't think there was a great trade for Clay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and also, I mean, and maybe this, I don't know, maybe a romantic notion, but it's like, I also don't think you do a guy like Clay dirty and send him to a total shitbird team just for a few things.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like a lot of teams are looking for a Clay though. There's a lot of teams in the league right now that are like they think in their head they're one guy away from being committed. So you could have got maybe not a draft pick, but you could have got a younger guy that maybe does a different role for you, kind of in that ballpark of Clay. And that's who I was thinking they were going to trade Clay for.
Yeah.
A little bit younger, keep Poole, and then get somebody in a different position that kind of offers something.
Now, what do you guys think? I'm going to switch gears a tiny bit here about the Orlando Magic. They got KCP.
uninspiring.
KCP was a weird signing, but
Yeah. I mean, I kind of get it. He adds some shooting that they need, and he has been, at this point, he's a veteran guy that's been around some titles. So it's not horrible, but it's also not something that you wake up and you're happy that it happened.
they're still good though. I didn't think they needed to add a whole lot. If they would have got like a big free agent, you'd be like, oh wow, maybe they make a run. But I think that the young core is still there. You expect them to make another jump this
But
year.
but my issue is, if not now, when? Like when are you gonna?
But what was the move? Like, arguably, what was the move?
There's plenty of moves to make. You could have got. Wendell Carter is probably it is not probably. Wendell Carter is their weakest spot in their lineup. He's the center. You should have thrown the money and got Hartenstein over there. That was right there, easy for you to
That's a
go
good
get.
play.
Okay. And then if you combine Hartenstein, because I understand Paul George had to choose to come there. So if you combine Hartenstein with KCP, and then maybe you get a reserve a guard over there. You need I would like a point guard. Suggs is right now. He flirts in between the starting and reserve. They have too many guards over there that are one-sided. They just they just need a stronger lead guard. Okay, they just need a stronger lead guard and a center. Now, KCP is a good, like you said, 3-and-D guy. He was one of the best on the market. That's fine. But it's uninspiring because that's all you did.
Yeah,
That's not going to change their fortune. It's not going to, improve their wins by 8 or so. Like,
I completely agree with you. I don't know who was Like who could, like was there a legit shot? I like the Hartenstein move. I do. But again, if I'm Hartenstein and OKC's offering me in the Magic, I'm going to OKC.
Yeah. But you got the Magic had the second most amount of money to spend behind us.
Right.
You got to outbid them.
You
have to outbid them.
But you also, I mean, I like Hartenstein, but you do not do yourself a favor if you dramatically overpay him.
Why not? That's
He's
what
not
teams
that
do.
Good.
Teams
and for the last 5 years, I've had to listen to you bitch about Tobias Harris.
That's not Tobias Harris.
If you pay,
that's not Tobias
there
Harris.
is a level that if you pay Hartenstein, you will look at him in the same light. He's a good but not great player. But if you're paying him, I don't know, some absurd figure, like you're going to start to look at what the fuck this guy's a.
That's kind of different though. Tobias Harris, you thought was like a player. Hartenstein, you know what role he's going to play.
But that's what I'm saying. But you don't want to. But my point is, you don't want to pay Hartenstein $35 million a year to outbid OKC. Like you're not doing yourself a favor.
I also wouldn't make it because I think right now with the contracts they can be patient. You know, and they still have 2 years to see if someone else comes in free agency.
That's the thing. You do not have time to be patient. Right now, you're not spending any money. These guys, Paulo and Wagner, and you got to pay these guys in about two years. Yeah. You got to pay these guys, and they're going to demand max contracts because that's what everybody else is getting. And then you're not going to have.
And then you're going to show that clip of Wagner going 1 for 12 in Game 7. And be like, how about the veterans minimum, bitch?
They can clear everybody out except Paulo.
So right now is the time you can spend some money, and that way it won't hamper you when you have to,
right? Because you'll have the preferred rights on those other guys.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, but again, I don't think Hartenstein. I like him, but I wouldn't want to overpay.
That's a fair take. That's a fair take.
I mean, maybe if you could have gotten Donovan Mitchell, but I don't know that was ever truly in play. I mean, I get if you could get a really higher tier guard.
You're saying go for it. Yeah.
I would have gone for that.
Yeah.
But overall, it's just kind of uninspiring, and it's hard to tell because. And I was talking to my other son about this on the way here. Like, you make the KCP move at the beginning of the period here. Like, I don't know what other opportunities were out there, and we may never know.
And then we saw DeJounte Murray what he went for. He went for a hamburger and a medium fry.
For real.
Like you could have done that.
That would have been a great move.
And you could have outbid the Pelicans.
Like a month ago for
that. Yeah, and I could have sworn he would have went for much more. I thought they would have been demanding much more for that.
Yeah, I do.
For DeJounte Murray.
Yeah.
What a great move for the Pelicans. They didn't really have to give up much to get him. And so, I'm not in love with that fit, but he's a better player than what you had. So you'll figure it out. Yeah. You know what I mean, and go from there.
I do think it's funny though. Again, that move goes down. Like if you're the Magic or you're any other team, like did that kind of happen so quickly or in a way that like you really didn't know what you might have been able to offer to do that? Like a lot of those moves are strange. Like did anybody really have a chance to get into that negotiation and top that offer?
Yeah.
Because you look at it now and you're like, gosh, we definitely could have done that. But was the deal closed like kind of so quickly and such a foregone conclusion?
Maybe Magic are still kind of believing in their guards.
Maybe they are.
I don't know if they're believing in Suggs.
Suggs is the only, but and that's because he has an identifiable trait, and he's really good at it. But he still has to. He's going to have to become a more dynamic offensively.
Yeah.
He's just going to have to in order for them to excel in the playoffs, man. Like that Cleveland series, they just had a problem scoring. They just had, what I mean? You have to score the ball. You have to be able to score the ball, no matter how much defense you play. Because, he's out there. Donovan Mitchell is still scoring 40 and 50 points.
Yeah.
How much defense is Suggs really playing? You know what I mean? Like you could be a great defender, and he is a really good defender. But these guys, man, who can score the ball, you're just not going to be able to stop them.
It's levels.
You got to match them.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So we got those three teams there, and then the rest of the teams, like you said, Golden State.
I like Chris Paul to San Antonio.
Yeah. That was a sneaky.
I really enjoyed that. At this point, I regard Chris Paul as like a player coach.
Yeah.
And I think having him there with Wemby is going to pay huge dividends.
Not only with Wemby, of course, because Wemby is there, but they drafted that young guard
from UConn.
Yeah,
Stephon
like,
Castle.
You can mentor him, do whatever you want.
And Johnson too, Keldon Johnson.
And Keldon Johnson
I guess,
and
maybe.
Darius Vassell is also another
yeah,
guy.
Vassel's like a scoring guard. I like
promise.
Vassell. He's a scoring guard.
What's the other guy who kind of had a little bit of the Sochan?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what he said. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Point guard a little bit.
Yeah. Because Vassell is a scorer. Yeah. Now I wonder, will Chris start, or will they do the youth movement and have him? That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
been a while since Chris Paul has started.
I think they need him at start. They need a point guard playing.
Yeah.
With Wemby, that could be dangerous.
That's the thing. I would be very comfortable starting him, maybe even just 6 minutes of first quarter. But Chris Paul's going to get you started in a game the right way.
He's going to start and finish the game.
Yes, but again, he's going to get you out of the gate in a game where you're going to get, for the first 5 or 6 minutes, you're going to get the ball where you want it to go, to the people you want it to go to, and do they hit the shots?
Yeah.
And so you're going to have a composed start to each game with him.
And end in the game.
And then when you get to a closing situation, agree.
Yeah.
And again, we kind of talked about it when there was the notion of maybe Trae Young to send it. But the point being this is that we know Chris Paul is diminished defender, but you've got Wemby behind you.
Yeah.
And that changes how you can defend and play. If you're an older guy like Chris Paul, you can almost kind of face guard people, knowing almost inviting them to try to go behind you into Wemby's area.
Well, when you're a Spurs defender, you can just push all of your guys off the 3-point line.
Right.
And say, if you want to go to the hole, I mean that's totally up to you.
Good luck. I wouldn't advise it, but
totally
I do think it's it's not Chris Paul of old, but for what it was, I really like that move.
What are the Hawks doing though?
Sucking.
What's Trae Young staying there for? They need to get him over.
So what I read yesterday was that their price for Trae Young is so high and it's out of control, which is so weird to me because DeJounte Murray price was so low for them.
Mm-hmm.
So they are obviously, and I understand because I know Trae is a marketing machine for them, and I know they make a lot of money off his face name and likeness and all of that stuff. But I think they're closer in players as far as just player for player than Atlanta actually believes.
I'm not a big Trae Young guy. Yeah. I don't think that he's a guy that will ever be a winning guy, a championship caliber player.
Yeah.
And I think he's certainly good enough to put up some stats and give a team some moments and some highlights, but I don't think he's really a winning NBA level player, and I wouldn't put too much on him. So I mean, credit to the league if they're just passing on, bad demands for Trae Young.
Crazy how that Trae Young Doncic debate aged.
Was it ever a debate though?
It was for the rookie season. I'm not saying
among who though.
The people. People were. People were.
The unwashed masses.
Everyone, you included.
Oh, no.
Someone pull up a clip.
Go ahead. I was never a Trae Young guy.
I think you said draft Trae.
No, I didn't. No, I
say, who's this Euro boy?
No, I actually was high on Luke as a draft pick.
It is tough.
I did not like that class. I didn't like Ayton. I didn't really like Trae Young, and I was drawn to the fact that with Luka, it's this guy has had success at a pro level already. And I actually thought at the time Phoenix had a European coach.
Oh yeah,
and
Eastern European guy.
Yeah, I actually thought that they would pull the trigger on Luka first. And they already had an Eastern European who would, to me, would probably have great respect and feel very comfortable that he could get the most out of a guy like Luka. And to their discredit, they took Ayton.
Because the problem is, especially with us on stateside, we just honestly didn't know. You really just you only have those tapes or whatnot. They're doing some type of short documentary on that Slovenia team. I think they went to the.
Oh, I saw a little bit of that.
Yeah.
It's already out.
I saw it on the plane when I was flying here. I saw the little thing, a little bit of it from it.
Yeah, it's probably the same thing I saw. It's a little clip. Yeah, and Gordon Dragic was saying because at the time Luka was 15 or something. And he was like, this is going to be the best player in the world. And Gordon Dragic was is it Gordon Dragic? Am I saying?
Yeah, Gordon Dragic.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and he was he's the starting point guard for the team, but Luka would come in off the bench, and then he ended up starting closer to the end of that run there. And he was just like, yeah, this kid is going to be the best player in the world one day. I was like, damn, that's crazy that they got this on tape, and then is whatever.